Hello, welcome to Chick Chat and Chill. I'm Antoinette, and I am the owner of Pixel This. It's a full service design company that has designed everything from, Snapple packaging to corporate lobbies to all sorts of fun things. And whether you want to promote your business, your service, or your brand, we put as much passion and dedication behind it as you do. And I'm excited to introduce my co-host Laura, and she's going to explain what she does.
I am Laura Fickett, your financial stress reduction coach. I own Fickett Financial Coaching, where I love to help people make more money, manage it better, retain it to build their wealth, and live a wealthy lifestyle. So I help individuals and business owners. I love financial coaching. I do free consultations. So if you need one, if I tell people, if you're frustrated with your finances, call Fickett. There's a little bit more to it, but we'll keep it that way for now. So today we're going to talk about holistic remedies for helping you. Wealthy, in my opinion, isn't just about money. I tell people wealthy is all of your life. Like, you want wealth in your relationships, you want prosperity in your health, you want prosperity in your financial sphere. But I think that sometimes when people rush to use maybe some Western medicine, in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, I don't think it works as well as if you can find some holistic remedies. So I'll start off with one story. I was having allergy problems, and I went to an acupuncturist, my friend Cynthia at the Healing Point up in Massachusetts, and she does NAET, which is I don't know the first word. It's like a Nambudrapad's allergy elimination technique. It's part of acupuncture, but she eliminated all my allergies over a series of like 10 visits with muscle testing and vials and everything like that. And I couldn't believe it because I was taking allergy medicine from like April all the way through October. So I was putting this medicine in my body to heal one symptom, and who knows what it was doing to the rest of my body. But that was my acupuncture, and that kind of and chiropractic was my first introduction into the holistic alternative medicine. What was your first introduction, Antoinette?
Oh, goodness. Well, when I was little, it's funny because my dad worked in a hospital, and yet if anything happened to us, the last place we would ever go to a doctor. So if you got sick, my mom would go, here, eat a garlic sandwich. It would be like a garlic sandwich with tons of butter. And my dad would mix something at the liquor cabinet and here, drink this. And I think that was honestly to put you to sleep and shut up. But I think the garlic
Probably.
worked, so garlic is definitely a huge, huge thing. Like if you're sick or have a cold, you know, like a raw garlic sandwich. I mean, don't have a makeout session afterwards, um but you shouldn't anyway because you're sick and you're going to be passing germs, and smelly breath isn't going to help your relationship either. But that was my intro.
My husband says garlic actually comes out my pores, never
It
mind my
does.
breath. He
Yeah.
said it just like leaks out of my entire body, but I love garlic. But yeah, garlic is good. One of the things when I was pregnant with my kids, you don't want to take a lot of medicine when you're pregnant, but you do get sick just like anybody else. And a doctor told me about a neti pot. So a lot of people may still not know what a neti pot is. And those of you that have a neti pot, you're like, yes, the neti pot. But that thing can either flush out your sinuses or drown you. I prefer the flush out the sinuses part, but it takes a bit
Yeah.
to get to use it. But what happens is, you get all like congested, you get all the pressure in your face and everything like that. And chiropractor, they can do adjustments, acupuncture, but the neti pot like kind of rinses the nasal passages out with a saline water type solution. And that has helped me tremendously with head colds. Like,
Yeah.
I can't even emphasize how much a neti pot, like I should start carrying that in my travel bag.
The one thing I want to kind of just touch upon here, because there's a lot of people that are so into go to the doctor, get this medicine. Well, if it was the best thing for you, the doctor would do it. And I think a lot of people, I just want to do a quick history thing of like how medicine became the medicine of today. So in the 1900s, Rockefeller and Carnegie decided that it would be really good to infiltrate the medical system. So what they did is they decided to give these large financial donations to the top uh, medical colleges of the world, and they said, oh, if we're going to give you $1 million, we just want someone on your board of directors just to make sure that our gift is being used appropriately.
Mm-hmm.
And basically what they did is then they steered all the courses and the structure to go all towards pharmaceuticals to make them money. So basically, doctors today, when they go through medical school, your typical doctor has no sort of education in any sort of holistic medicine. It's not that they know about to even tell you. And there's actually certain things, like even with cancer, if they tell you anything other than surgery, radiation, or chemotherapy, they could get their license taken away.
Oh my goodness.
So like back in the 1900s, they were all sorts of holistic doctors, and they became like witch doctors where they were like jailed and whatever. So that all went away, and it bred into this huge industry, and there's a lot of corruption within our government. And with what they pass and what they I mean, there
That
have
could
been
be 10 topics for 10 other
yeah, but
podcasts at
I
least.
just want to give that as a precursor.
Yeah.
So for those of you that are like, oh my God, it was so good, my doctor, my doctor, my doctor, my doctor. I'm not telling you not to listen to your doctor, but kind of like what Laura touched upon was, you know what? The things that you could do holistically, they're not going to hurt you. You know, there's so many options out there, and almost any sort of pharmaceutical has a reaction. You know, it's not a natural substance that you're putting into your body. You know, I'm a religious person. Laura's a religious person. I believe that God made our immune system to function properly, given it the proper tools that it needs.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
And I have just recently, I was on levothyroxine for thyroid issues. I'm in my 40s, and they said it was hereditary. And I tried all kinds of different things to get off of it, and I just couldn't get off of it. But then I found somebody that owns a company called Refreshed Vitality here in Florida, and they did some DNA testing, and they found out that there was a bacteria that was attacking my thyroid that was hereditary, that was passed down to me. So holistically, they prescribed some medicine, holistic medicine, that killed the bacteria and then supported healing my thyroid and my pituitary glands. So now it's been almost a year that I've been off of my thyroid medicine. I was on 125 micrograms, so I had to slowly wean off, but I've been off of my thyroid medicine, and my pituitary gland is almost healed. And so I think you're right. I don't think the doctors, it's not that they don't want to help you in this way, but that's not what they're learning in medical school. It's all these other people that are trying to find alternative ways to solve problems that are finding these solutions. And what they're prescribing for me was holistic, so it's not going to hurt me. At worst case scenario, it flushes out of my body and it does nothing. But the pharmaceuticals, like you said, I don't know what they're going to do. Like, I have no idea what the long-term effects of that, me being on levothyroxine for as many years as I was. It could have gotten to the point where it completely replaced my thyroid, and then my thyroid wouldn't have been healed at all.
Yeah. I mean, I had an issue where I remember I was having like these rashes that would show up, and I went to the dermatologist, and they thought the cure was, or what they did was put me on birth control. So they put me on birth control, and I have to say honestly, then when I had that time of the month, like my the pain went down. I used to have like excruciating pain, and it got rid of the sores and all that. But then come to find out, so I was on this, you know, birth control for a while. Had I known, I really should have researched it. You know, I was just young. It caused all sorts of other issues.
Of course.
And then when I came off of it, my period was gone.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, this was like in my 20s, and then I couldn't get it back. And then
and every woman just went, why would you want it back?
I really wasn't. It wasn't something that I just thought it was unhealthy. Like, it's abnormal. And then I was like, something's wrong with me. And again, the doctors couldn't figure out anything. And then they're like, oh, maybe you need birth control again. And it was like, a lot of times I feel like they're guessing.
Trial and error. Yeah.
And I went through all these other doctors, and nobody would, they do all these tests. And then I ended up going to like a holistic doctor, and he looked at some of the same tests that the doctors took. He didn't take one test himself. he said, bring in your test results from the doctors. And he looked at it and he goes, it's something with your thyroid. And he had me take L-tyrosine, which is a natural amino acid.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, again, it's just, there's lots of times simple things. And there's so many people that are there to, again, if I just went down that road, I just would have, who knows what else would have developed, or, God only knows.
Right. You have to, I mean, the thing about people, they say, well, I believe in science. I believe in science. Well, science has always taught people to question. Like, science is all about questioning things, like a hypothesis and all this other stuff. Like, so when somebody says to you, well, let's try, the word try is always a trigger for me. It's like a big red,
Yeah.
What do you mean try? Like,
Yeah.
you don't know if this is going to work or not? Let's try this. Oh, then they start to get nervous, right? Yeah. And that's what they always say. Well, let's try the birth control and maybe that will fix the problem, or let's try this cream, or let's try this. It is trial and error. So you should question, like, all right, well, I mean, we have no excuse now, 2025, zero excuse of not being able to go on the internet and get the information. Like I've said before, we're not looking through the Encyclopedia Britannica for this stuff, right? You can go online, you can find all kinds of things. And if it's honey, lemon, garlic, apple cider vinegar, that stuff is not going to hurt you. Yeah. So if it says that might help in your ailment, I mean, why not try it?
Yeah. And what's unique is a lot of the same stuff that's good. Like there are things that are natural antibiotics, or things that are natural astringents and stuff like that, like aloe vera, or, there's things that, you'll have almost the same cure for a lot of different ailments that, it's not rocket science. It's not this crazy thing. And when a lot of these drugs get approved, again, the person who's approving them, they have a medical, there's a financial incentive to say that this works. And what they're usually doing it is comparing it to a placebo. And that means either like a sugar pill or something like that. And it just has to do slightly better than a sugar pill. And I mean, honestly, and it doesn't mean that it's good for you, it just means that if you're taking absolutely, whatever. But, there is that whole placebo effect. Like they've had times where they'll do, let's say, cancer studies, and they'll take the placebo group, and the people that are actually taking the chemo, whatever, like 30% of them in general will lose their hair. Same with the placebo group. This is literally people imagining that they're taking something and their hair is falling out just from their own thought. So when you're taking these medicines, even if it isn't holistic, you got to believe that this thing is working for you, because that makes such a big difference. I've heard so many stories of people that, they got misdiagnosed or whatever, and they ended up doing something, or somebody misinformed them about what they were taking, and their thought alone cured this incurable something. And then they found out that it was misinformation, and they literally get it right back.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, your body was designed to heal itself, but your brain is a component of that body. So I really think your brain can heal or harm you. Yeah. And I'm a huge proponent of positive thoughts. But they've done studies on plants, where like somebody's really says mean words to a plant, and that plant like starts to wither and die. And they've said nice words to a plant, and that plant thrives. Yeah. And so it's not, I don't know the science behind it. I don't need to know the science behind it. But if, like, I always said, if taking, a strawberry is going to get rid of my headache, I would much rather take that than a couple Advil. So I don't really care. Yeah. But I think that the ultimate problem is when I have a headache. We'll just use a headache, for example. I always think to myself, okay, why do I have a headache? I question it first. Am I tired? Am I dehydrated? Did I strain my eyes playing a video game? Like we just talked about that on the last podcast, where I don't think I blink. Was I driving too long? Like, what has brought on this headache? Is there allergies? Like, what's going on with my body that now I have this alarm going off in my head? And I'm not talking migraines. I'm talking just headache, right? And so then I try and say, okay, well, I haven't drank enough. I want to drink water and rehydrate myself, or I haven't slept enough, so I want to go take a nap. Whatever it is, I want to solve the problem. Now, I could just take Advil and that will get rid of my headache for a little while, but my body gave me an alarm. It's kind of like a check engine light in your car. the light came on and you were just like, I'm going to put some black electrical tape over that. Like, forget it.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
Yeah. No, it's so true. And the other thing I found also is, you know, not all doctors, if you start healing or getting better without their help, I mean, not all doctors are supportive of that. So I've had where I've helped my parents and their doctor literally fired them from being a patient because you're taking away their livelihood. They're still in the business. And I'm not saying all doctors, but there are people that, you know, treat it like the business it is. And healthy people, I think the US should really redo how they pay the healthcare system. And there are countries that do this where they get paid more the healthier their patients are. In the US, doctors make more the sicker you are. Or if they're like, oh, let me just run this test you. If a doctor writes a prescription for you, they could bill more for that visit, whether you need the prescription or not. They could bill more for that visit than if you just came and checked out fine. So a lot of times it's one of those follow the money.
Yeah, it's always follow the money.
But even like with my mom, she had cataracts, and my mom, like she wouldn't take any surgery or any medical thing that she doesn't have to. If there's a way to mix something in her kitchen or do whatever. So I told her for that, I said, put castor oil in your eyes. I go, every night you're not gonna be able to see, but I said, put castor oil in your eyes. And sure enough, it dissolved her cataracts. And they kept telling her, oh, they're getting bigger, bigger, bigger. Next time she had her eye exam, they didn't even mention it at all. They were completely gone.
See? Castor oil.
Yeah. So there are, like, these are simple things. Now, I said the same thing to my brother, and I recommended to him, and he had every excuse. Oh, well, I can't. I'm like, look, I'm not I'm not you. If you don't want to do that and you rather just go get cataract surgery, it's your life.
Yeah.
But like when I recommend this to somebody, I'm not saying this is what you must do. I'm trying to help you.
Alternative.
Yeah. Like
medicine.
You might not have known that option existed. So whether this is something that behooves you to use or not, just listen to it with open open ears and an open mind, and just realize people aren't trying to, they're not, the only reason people are suggesting things to you is perhaps it worked for them. They have some experience with it, and they're trying to help you with something that will be better for you than any pharmaceutical has side effects. I mean, if you look at half of them, when you look at, warning side effect, a lot of them are like death, blindness, impotence. Like these aren't
leakage in places you don't want to be leaking. That's the one that always gets me. I don't want to be leaking from my backside. Like,
yeah, like I remember there was something for, I forgot, it was like a yeast infection or something like that. So like a normal, like I've never had one, but a normal yeast infection, from what I understand, takes like maybe a week if it's a bad one or whatever. But it was like, oh, you could take this and do all this stuff, and instead of it being a week, it's gone in 3 days. But you may have the thing of being like permanently not able to have kids, and I'm like, what are you even doing?
I don't know. People, you're just not, they don't have the knowledge, right, for the options. I was talking to somebody the other day that I said I go to a DO, which is a doctor of osteopath, like that she looks at alternative medicine before an MD does. And they said, I didn't even know that existed. And I'm like, well, there's not many, but you can find them. And that's what they do. Some of the remedies. So, if people are looking for remedies, I rattled off some things. Antoinette has rattled off some things. Ginger, like if you don't know that ginger helps with nausea, ginger does. Ginger is great. Ginger tea, there's ginger drops. I use essential oils for all kinds of stuff. I'm not allergic to tea tree like Antoinette is. So I use tea tree for insect bites. Like I use tea tree for all kinds of things, but I use essential oils. There's some that are on the market that are better than others. Like even if we were talking about cilantro before we even started the podcast, and cilantro, like you can get essential oils that aren't as harsh as cilantro, the cilantro oils to use. But I remember when my kids were younger, they weren't particularly sick, but they got a ear infection. And so first thing, people are antibiotics, but somebody else, probably my acupuncturist, said, oh no, ear infections can heal on their own. And here are some things that you can do, because antibiotics, what happens is it ruins all of the gut flora.
Yeah.
Like every good bacteria you have in your gut gone
Yeah.
with antibiotics, and then you can't process your food as well. And so, I mean, it's just insane. Like you talked about, one thing will lead to another. So I always look for the alternatives first. Now, my oldest son has ulcerative colitis. He is in his early 20s. He goes to so I got the Osprey shirt on for University of North Florida. He's up there in Jacksonville right now. But he's been looking into nutrition and all kinds of alternative things because he is too young to have this kind of digestive problem. But I see a lot more digestive problems than we ever have before. And I also see that when I was growing up, they started handing out my kids antibiotics like it was candy.
Yeah.
Every time you go, antibiotics. So it's no wonder 10 years, 15 years later, everybody's got gut issues.
Well, not only that, but I also, I forgot what I was reading. It was years ago, and they said the majority of parents, when they bring in their kid that they're sick and they go to a doctor, and like there's no cure for the common cold, or you all heard that thing where some things have to take its course, and there's things you can make it shorter, but and parents would be disgusted if they didn't leave with a prescription. So now they've almost conditioned doctors, like for them to feel like they did their job, they'll write you a script, and then bonus, they get to bill you more.
Oh.
So it's not always in your best interest, but there's all sorts of different things. But you did mention something that I want to circle back with muscle testing, because that's actually a really good thing that a lot of people might not know what that is. So basically, if something is good and healthy for you, it will strengthen your body. So for example, like, I don't know if you've ever seen those, like, I don't know, there are those courses where if you say something positive about yourself, like, I am a good person, I am wonderful, whatever, and then someone tries to push down your arm, like, they can't. It's too strong for them to push down. But then if you all of a sudden go, like, I'm a worthless piece of what, I'm a horrible human being, and then they try to do it, your arms flop down like spaghetti noodles, because it's something that's weakening you. It's not your truth, and therefore your muscle weakens. And it's that same premise that they'll put certain things next to you, or certain foods. Like if you're trying to figure out an allergy, and like Laura's husband is allergic to bees.
Yes.
So if he picked up, let's say, bee pollen or something, and then you did a muscle test, his thing will go way down. So that's something you could just do of your own. If you're just trying to find out something, of yourself, maybe you don't have money to go see a doctor, or you're in a remote location and you're just trying to figure out something, like literally talk to your body. It has answers for you. Like, would it be good if I drink this lemon juice right now because I'm feeling X? And do a muscle test, and it'll answer yes or no for you.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that people, like, they trust, like, oh, here's a prescription, I trust it's going to work. Like, I don't know where that trust was developed, or where it came into play. And then sometimes you talk to your brother about holistic medicine, and I'll talk to people and they'll be like, well, I don't believe in that voodoo, mumbo jumbo, whatever. Like, why? Like, I guess just stop being stubborn and start like thinking about what's best for you overall. And like we've said, if it doesn't work, worst case scenario, I mean, I tore my meniscus a year and a half ago, and I was stubborn and I didn't want to have surgery. And everybody, surgery. Everybody said you need to have surgery. It was swelled up like a cantaloupe. And I was like, no. It's the third time I've torn it. I went to chiropractor the other 2 times. Going to go to the chiropractor this time. We're going to heal it. And I can always go and have surgery, but I can't have surgery and then go back and try chiropractic.
Yeah.
Or I can take honey and lemon or certain teas and things to try and get rid of my respiratory symptoms or the common cold or whatever. I can't, like, it's not going to hurt me. So why not? That's the part the disconnect. I don't understand when people are like, oh, I don't believe in that stuff. Like, why? Where did we go wrong as a society where we stopped questioning things and we just like go run to the pharmacy counter, like, okay, I trust that this is going to work for me. I have no idea what's in this medicine. Like, I mean, really, if you are taking medicine right now, are you a chemist? Yeah. I'm not a chemist. I have no idea what's in any of those pills.
The other thing I just want to bring up too, like, there are things that they're known to cure certain things, but if it's not, like pharmaceuticals, it's not allowed to claim them. like claim certain things. Like, for example, we've all heard the problem of like sailors back in the day, they'd get scurvy because they weren't getting enough vitamin C. And if they ate a bunch of oranges, it'd go, they
Go
would
away.
get scurvy. But yet oranges can't say
Cure scurvy.
cure scurvy because it would get fined by whoever put that on. So it's not that, a lot of the stuff that is out there and actually can heal it, they just can't claim it, so don't be like, oh, well, it would claim it if it was true. That's not entirely true, because again, these manufacturers would get sued and whatnot. And a lot of times when they're developing pharmaceuticals, they'll use placebos, but they're also trying to develop it versus the actual holistic thing to see if it could do better. And a lot of times they can't. And the thing is, they can't make money. This is it's a business. Like, healthcare is a $4 trillion a year industry.
Yeah, probably more.
I mean, that was years ago I heard that number,
Yeah,
but I'm
right.
sure it's much, much more now. And it's one of those, no business is in business to obsolete itself,
Or lose money.
yeah, like they're not looking to that. Like, if you go to the American Cancer Society, they're all for doing different treatments and whatever, but they don't want you to cure cancer. I mean, there have been doctors in the US that have been curing cancer and they've been put out of practice. They've been
Yeah.
I mean, I can't even get into that. So it's just one of those, just kind of like Laura said, it doesn't hurt you. You can't go backwards. Like, once you get this removed or that, or you take something, like
What are some of your favorites before we have to wrap it up? Like,
yeah. So, I mean, I think there's a lot, like, topical things. You could do all sorts of stuff with like aloe vera or, coconut oil. You could do anything
oil
from
pulling with coconut
yeah,
oil.
oil pulling. That could do anything from help your teeth. It has astringent properties if you put it on something. A lot of this, lemon is very big. Same thing if you get a bee sting and you put like lemon on it. I remember my mom was having an allergic reaction where there's a line going up her arm. She put lemon and it literally just went straight down. So there's so many, like, literally stuff that's in your pantry.
Or should be in your pantry.
Exactly. So I think those are huge things.
There's some stuff that I buy that's not in the pantry, not on the shelves. There's I
Like,
go
witch
to a
hazel.
holistic
Yeah.
practitioner, like a chiropractor, an acupuncturist, somebody that's in the alternative medicine field, and they could, my acupuncturist, she knows all kinds of stuff. I could just ask her, Dr. Heather Sherline, and she would tell me, oh, this is good for this and this is good for that. But there's stuff like yin chow is stuff that I take to boost my immune system if I feel something coming on. Or this cough medicine, it's called like Ninjam Pi Pa Quao, something like that. I don't know, it's cough medicine, but it's all like honeysuckle and it's all holistic stuff. And it works so much better to like break up the mucus and expel it from your body than like a Mucinex.
Yeah. And even they had, like, during COVID, where there was that natural thing in ginger ale that they removed from the market before they released COVID, and then you couldn't find it. And, so there is stuff
insane.
out there. I mean, it's just one of those you got to be wary of, but we're kind of running out of time. So, I hope you got something from this, even if it is that there is something else out there. If it isn't something we mentioned, there is a cure for anything you got. If your body created it, your body can cure it. And I 100% believe that.
Yes, absolutely.
So
God is good all the time.
So next week, we're going to talk about board games, which I think is interesting. It's a lot of, I don't think a lot of people understand, the joy and kind of the positives of that. But it's such a simple thing to do with your friends or your family. And I think you should tune in and you might learn a thing or two.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's some board games that have come out. I mean, there's the old ones, Monopoly and things like that. But there's some that have come out that are so good, and you can buy other like Ticket to Ride. I just played with friends and they loved it. And there's other ones that you can get. So we're going to talk about some of that stuff. Maybe bring the family together, bring your friends together, and kind of reconnect on a level that maybe we shouldn't have thrown by the wayside years ago.
Yeah,
So.
no, because it definitely teaches some skills. But for the most part, just never stop laughing.
And never stop learning. We'll see you next time.
Okay, see ya.